So you can have the best pop-up in the world and the smoothest paddle, but if you don't have your mindset right, you're gonna struggle. The mental side of surfing is just as important, and if you can't get that mindset tempered, it will completely hinder any progress that you try to make in surfing. When I first started surfing over 10 years ago, I took heaps of lessons, watched heaps of tutorials, drilled my stance, pop-up, everything. But whenever I went out into a surf where it was just a little bit outside my comfort zone, I completely freeze up. I would get so frustrated. I would be pulling back on waves that looking back on, I knew that I could handle. And it was just very frustrating, and I completely let my ego completely take over. This was ruining my surf sessions, and I knew that it was preventing me from progressing to the level that I wanted to get to. How do you deal with a crowded, intimidating lineup? How do you handle a session when the waves aren't perfect? How do I handle that inner critic, the ego, and my outsized expectations so that I'm actually enjoying this and not getting so damn frustrated? I remember early on, I had many sessions like this. Crowded, intimidating lineup, waves weren't really that good. My ego was getting in the way of things. I was letting that inner critic just talk. And I'd set these crazy high expectations that were not even realistic for the level that I was at that time. I'd missed every wave that I'd paddled for that session, and the waves, they weren't really that big. If I remember, they were maybe knee to thigh high max. But see, I had it in my head that I needed to catch a certain amount of waves in this session, and with each wave that I missed, and I just got more angry and more frustrated, and I was going down this negative feedback loop, and it was just not helping me at all during this session. What I needed in that moment was someone to help me temper my mindset and say, hey, calm down, relax, you got this, take a breather. But that wasn't really a thing that I knew was available for some reason. I don't know why, but that's just how it was. Because see, most surf schools really only focus on the physical stuff, right? They want you to put your foot placement to be a certain way, or your body mechanics to be a certain way. Put your hand here, shoulder here, etc., etc. And this is good, by the way. I mean, this is getting you to surf on waves. But when it comes to the whole mental side of things, I mean, most of them don't really have anything for you. They just say, just send it. It's only water. Being able to handle that negative self-talk, fear, and frustration would be super helpful to heaps and heaps of students that attend surf schools. I know this for a fact. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not throwing them under the bus. Surf schools do a great service. They get people out in waves, catching the forces of nature. This is a really good thing, and it gets people to have a good time. Like, what's wrong with that? Absolutely nothing at all. I just know for a fact that there's a lot of people that get into this sport and don't realize surfing is just as much mental and emotional as it is physical. Like, yeah, you have to be able to stand up on a board to surf. If you want to progress, if you don't have your mindset and your emotions in check, it's gonna be a real uphill battle, and you're gonna be constantly fighting against that progression, and it's gonna hold you back. How many times have you had a session where you felt like you just didn't quite get it? There was something missing and you just couldn't put a finger on it. Or maybe it was you had a great start to the session and then something happened, like a big wipeout that freaked you out, or a hold down, or you got scraped by the reef, or someone else hit you, or you got dropped in on. I mean, there's thousands of reasons I could come up with. And that thing that happened put you off. It put you in a bad frame of mind, and you just couldn't enjoy the surf session anymore. You are not alone. That has happened to pretty much everyone that surf. I'm willing to put money on that, because how can you not? You're in an uncontrolled environment with people around. There's reef, there's sea urchins, stingrays. There's a whole host of unexplained random events that could happen to you that you have absolutely no control over. So here's what I would recommend if you're looking for a surf coach that you want to help you improve on the physical side of things, but also the mental side of things, because that's just as important. I would suggest these 4 things. 1, someone who helps you reframe that ego, that negative self-talk. That's super critical. This is probably by far the number 1 issue that prevents people from leveling up in their surfing. Two, someone who helps you set realistic, achievable goals for you and where you are at your level. This is just to help you so you don't feel like you're failing. You want to feel like you're achieving, and that's so good for your mental and emotional state. Also, I would recommend finding someone that's going to help you relax in the lineup, especially when it gets super crowded and super intimidating or the conditions aren't that good. This happened to me with my surf coach. He was really good at this. Chris, if you're watching this, thank you so much for helping me with this part of surfing. There was this one session where I was just getting super frustrated. I was missing a ton of waves and I was kind of like screaming and probably dropping some bad words. No, I was definitely dropping some bad words. And he's like, dude, chill out. Get off your board. Just let some sets rule and just breathe. And honestly, that was so good. Like, it just let me completely relax and reset my whole mental and emotional system. And then I was able to come back 10 minutes later and felt so much better. And I was able to catch waves. Like, sometimes you just need someone else to tell you that when you're in the lineup. And then finally, someone that helps lower your expectations a bit. Like, I know this is gonna sound a little bit strange to say, but like every time you paddle out, it's not always going to be the best session. It's not possible, right? We're dealing with ocean and the waves and the swells and the tide and the wind. There's just so many things that are completely out of our control, and we have to have all those things line up perfectly, and most of the time they're not. And so just someone that helps lowers your expectations of what to expect. And then here's a couple of things that have actually helped me a ton that I would love to share with you. So whenever I used to have a really bad takeoff or a bad wipeout or just something that wasn't great, I would just get so pissed off and start saying, oh, maybe I should get out. Now, what I do is I just reframe it and say, well, this is part of the whole progress. You know, if you're not falling, you're not failing, you're not progressing. I mean, even the pro surfers, they wipe out, they mess up on some bog rail or whatever. Like, no one surfs perfectly all the time. It's just not possible. And I used to say, why am I so bad at this? And that's terrible negative self-talk. That is the ego in there, you know, trying to keep you safe. Like, no, reframe it as, I got this. This is just part of the process. Every session is progress. When you start thinking like every session I can progress a tiny bit better than before, that did absolute wonders for my mindset. I also used to set these really crazy, lofty goals that I was not capable of achieving during a surf session. I now sometimes just, my goal is I want to catch a few waves, or I want to do one turn, at least one turn, just something I know that I can achieve. And then once I achieve that in the session, I feel good and I feel like I can just enjoy the surf session. Also, I'd love to hear from you. Do you think that the mental and emotional side is talked about enough in surfing? Drop a comment, let me know, because I'm really interested to hear. Also, I would suggest when you're looking for a coach, ask them, how do you deal with the mental side of things? And if they don't really give you an answer, I would say keep looking, because it's gonna come up, that mental and emotional side. You're gonna have some sort of thing that's gonna block you or freeze you or whatever. Also, hypnotherapy is a really great tool that I've used to help me get through my mental blocks, and I've learned how to use mental therapy with my clients to help get them through their mental blocks, so I can totally help you with that. And lastly, just remember, surfing's not just what you can do on your surfboard, it's also what goes on up in your head. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I'll continue to make more videos on the mental side of surfing. Until next time.